Electrocast.
This episode is brought to you by Netflix. 3 couples, 4 vacations, a lot to unpack. Watch The 4 Seasons, a new series starring comedy favorites Tina Fey, Steve Carell, Will Forte, Coleman Domingo, and more in a hilarious and heartfelt love letter to long-term relationships. Based on the original Alan Alda film. Watch The 4 Seasons, May 1st, only on Netflix.
Shopping is hard.
I can never find anything in my size.
I don't even know my size.
I buy my clothes the same place I buy my groceries.
There's a better way. Make it easy with Stitch Fix. Just share your size, style, budget, and done. Your personal stylist sends pieces picked just for you.
That was easy.
Stitch Fix. Online personal styling for everyone. Free shipping and returns. No subscription required. Get started today at stitchfix.com.
Hold on to your butts.
We are changing the course of history as we see it. That is what Wesley demands.
Now this affects Iris. Iris, where are you?
What you feel only matters to you. I do not entertain hypotheticals. The world as it is vexing enough.
Iris, I have a tip for you.
Don't take drugs!
Or whatever movies with Wesley and Iris.
What up, and welcome to Or Whatever Movies. I'm your co-host, Iris, and I'm here with my older brother.
Wesley! That's terrible.
No, it's pretty good. Today we're talking a movie from 1986, Short Circuit, Pots and Pans, Short Circuit.
That's your Short Circuit song? I'm telling you, I'm saying with full confidence that at one point in Iris's development, Short Circuit was her favorite movie.
I loved Short Circuit. I took to this review with glee and enthusiasm, although I waited the entire movie for number 5 to say, Johnny 5 is alive, and he never did.
Number 5 is alive.
Yeah, but didn't we go around the house being like, Johnny 5 is alive, like over and over again?
No, you might have, and you might have gotten some of that from Short Circuit 2, Escape from New York.
How come sequels always go to New York, like Home Alone 2?
Yeah, they always go to the big city. They go from the town or the country to the city.
Short Circuit, a 1986 runaway hit?
Runaway, get it? Very successful movie.
Hee. Yeah, it was a purported budget of $15 million, grossed $40 worldwide.
Nice. And looms larger than that in our hearts and minds.
Short Circuit, Pots and Pans. So I haven't seen this for a long time, but I probably saw it dozens of times when we were children.
Wait,
in the 1980s.
That song,
yes?
was that Weird Science? The only lyrics you know from Weird Science is Pots and Pans?
Short Circuit and the melody. Come on. I did think that this was Weird Science going into it, and then I was like, oh, yeah, this movie with the Ben Jabutia?
Jabatuya.
With the Ben Jabatuya character, who I never, ever got. Ben Jabatuya just spoke gibberish, and I probably laughed because sometimes Newton laughed, but boy, did I never understand what he was saying ever until now.
Yep. All right. So because you are a lifelong Short Circuit expert, we're going to conduct this discussion interview style.
What is with you and the interview style? For the sake of Pete, why are you always doing interview style?
Why not?
All right, go. Show everybody you're a hotshot fun guy under your clothes.
Well, you wrote these down, didn't you? So
Bimbo.
All right. How long has it been since you've seen Short Circuit?
30 years.
No, it hasn't.
Probably.
That means your children have never seen Short Circuit?
No, but I did think about revisiting it yet again with them.
Okay. What blew your mind about this screening of Short Circuit?
Ben Jabatuya.
Yes. What about him?
Well, that this kind of cultural representation would probably not fly today.
Probably?
And that every one of his lines is like some butchered turn of phrase, mostly sexual in connotation. He's an outrageous character for a PG movie.
Sure. Do you think that he was doing his people a disservice by playing a hyper-Indianized Indian?
the weight of Southeast Asian representation is not necessarily, on this one man. But is Fisher Stevens even Indian?
Not remotely. He's a blue-eyed white dude who dyed his arm hair, dyed his hair.
No.
This is like Tot being not an Asian guy from Raiders of the Lost Ark.
You thought that Tot was Japanese.
Yeah, dude, his name is Fisher Stevens.
Had a 3-year relationship with Michelle Pfeiffer, really?
Oh, man. And Michelle Pfeiffer is the whitest woman alive.
Well, so yeah, maybe he did do the Indian people a disservice by misrepresenting them.
Look, to be fair, I watched interviews with him and he's like, yeah, how you doing? And it's really weird. But he also was the central figure in Short Circuit 2 when Ali Sheedy was deemed too expensive and Steve Guttenberg refused to do the movie or whatever because nobody would show him a script. He didn't know what he was in for. So it's just Ben and Johnny Five at that point.
They went like Ian Malcolm.
Yeah.
With him.
Exactly.
And all gave him his own movie.
And he said, and so during the interviews, he said that he had an Indian gentleman next to him the entire time who was advising, who's helping with the accent, with mannerisms. And I'm telling you, him, the Indian guy who was hired to assist him, all the interviewers, it was never a thing. Bobby Wygant, famous interviewer, was like, so what was it like playing one of those people? He was like,
wow.
Yeah, we tried to do it. And you can see from, him trying to adapt Americanisms that it's offensive and like, you're like, wow, as an adult, I cannot believe that's in a PG movie. But at the time, there was nothing. It's not like, well, we were ashamed of ourselves and then the times came around and bit us in the ass, Just the awareness didn't exist, and thus the sense of shame that they were doing anything wrong.
How times have changed, or have they?
So it is a PG movie, which is interesting to note. I guess there are adult themes. That's not what tripped me out. Who directed Short Circuit?
John Badham.
What else did John Badham direct?
Wait a second.
What?
Saturday Night Fever.
Available now, orwhatevermovies.com.
Our discussion for which, wait a second, Saturday Night Fever is prominently featured.
This is what I'm saying.
Circuit.
I've made that connection. We were simultaneously watching Saturday Night Fever, maybe not fit for kids, but we saw the TV edit while we were watching Short Circuit. And Johnny Five is dancing to the disco. And I was like, that's awesome. I love Saturday Night Fever. Had no idea it was the same dude.
Whoa.
There it is.
Well,
blew your
no
mind.
Wonder. And what different movies? How expertly the director John Badham uses Saturday Night Fever as quintessence of humanity.
Yeah. And the girl that everyone's dancing with is Stephanie.
Aww.
Man.
Did John Badham also write Short Circuit?
I don't know. I don't think so. I'm not sure.
No. Yeah, I mean, what is more human, other than jokes, than dancing?
I don't know. Sexy time? Because,
ew. What's that ish for? No one has sex in this.
No one has sex? You don't think so? Because during the test screenings and stuff, audiences were booing Johnny Five and Stephanie getting a little bit too close. Apparently, she hugged and smooched him a lot more.
Oh, because she only hugs and smooches him she hugs him while dancing, but then she smooches him when he requests it after she and Steve Guttenberg kiss.
Yeah, but also he sees her naked and gets an eyeball boner and is like, change color, and it's all awkward and stuff.
He doesn't get an eyeball boner.
His eyeballs shoot out of his head.
She's like all cartoon style.
Yep.
She's very strategically covered by her towel and her bathtub tray.
I'm saying there was a little aspect of romance there that weirded people out from the get.
All right, which might have been weirder if Stephanie wasn't a collector of strays. But her adopting Johnny Five is very believable in this context.
And so for me, Ali Sheedy was always from The Breakfast Club. How many years after The Breakfast Club where she's in high school, is Short Circuit filmed?
Well, 86 Breakfast Club is what? Late 70s? I'm going to say 5-10 years max.
It was a year later.
What?
Yes, this is what I'm saying. Blows my mind, these revelations.
She's clearly like a young food truck chef.
Yeah. 1985, fully fledged adult with her own house and a boyfriend with a Firebird.
So Brian and I were just talking about Molly Ringwald and how talented she is.
That's a weird thing
And
to be
obviously,
talking about.
I guess it was a little bit. I mean, but she, like, I think he had heard an NPR interview with her, and they talk about her French translation work and her jazz singing career. And I did see Molly Ringwald perform her jazz set, and she came on stage and was like, "For those of you who don't know me, I'm Ali Sheedy. Welcome to my performance," and it was great and very charming.
They were the only two girls in the Breakfast Club, and that's so they're kind of thrown together or whatever. Okay, ready?
Yeah, go.
What does...
Wait. What am I ready for?
You're ready for your next question?
With excitement like this, who is in need of enemas?
Yeah. We're just going to intersperse it. They're like wipes. They're like chapter breaks in our podcast. And now it's time for another Fisher Stevens Ben Jabatuya moment.
Don't worry, I got more.
Okay. What does stat mean?
Statum. It is Latin for quickly.
One also might
Boom!
say immediately. Very good. Now, why does he say stat?
It is definitely Dr. Howard's thing. The stat. Emphasizing the T, which is there, but for whatever reason putting the emphasis on it. It's just his tick. Ben's got the one-liners.
Right.
Howard's got the stat. And Schroeder is like, today, people.
What's his name?
Schroeder?
No.
Schroeder?
Yeah, Schroeder, which was in place from the very beginning. And Kelly Ray was like, how long until they make a scrotum joke? And it happened like halfway through the movie, courtesy of your boy Ben.
Of course it did.
Yeah, but it was written originally that way. They were like, let's call him Schroeder, because they knew that afforded endless opportunities for scrotum jokes throughout the movie. Like, this is all intentional.
But we only get one.
Yes, one scrotum joke, which is all we need, because I think it's painfully clear from the start. So anyway, yeah, Les, stat means immediately or urgently or whatever. But Steve Gutenberg says, what does that mean? And he says, I don't know, which made me think as a kid, not having any context, that it was gibberish, that it was literally the whole word was just one of his random vocal tics, substantiated by the fact that the actor who plays him was also the stuttering lawyer in My Cousin Vinny, the stuttering public defender.
Oh, Austin Pendleton?
Now, granted, that was a few years later, but still, in my childhood, it all blends.
Oh, yeah. He's the one who is very confident until he takes the podium.
Yep.
Like he can't get a word out. That's so funny. You know, he's great. I liked Dr. Howard or Mr. Howard or whatever, even though he sets him up in the bar. You saw that coming, right?
As a kid, I think so, yeah, but I cannot remember. This movie is so ingrained that it was always a given that he was ultimately betrayed, even if he didn't know. And Stephanie thought that that Steve Gutenberg was betraying, that Newton was the reason she was betrayed. But no, he was trapped by what's his name and Schroeder. But I've seen this movie. This movie is such a part of my childhood. I cannot remember if I understood at some point before they were ambushed that it was an ambush, that it was a trap.
How tall is Steve Gutenberg?
I don't know, but next to Fisher Stevens, he's pretty tall, making Fisher Stevens an appropriately sidekick sized.
5'10.5". Steve Gutenberg is like in the Judge Reinhold category of 80s stars.
Yeah?
So 80s crush-worthy.
Yes.
But then just disappears.
Well, what are you talking about? Judge Reinhold has a prominent role as Detective Billy Rosewood in Beverly Hills Cop Axel F.
All right. Well, Steve Gutenberg disappeared.
Yep.
Although they were trying to get Police Academy back up and running a number of times.
Yeah, we'll see how that goes. Police Academy was never my thing.
Was Ali Sheedy your thing?
No, definitely not.
Really?
Are you kidding? She was right next to Claire. She was right next to Molly Ringwald in The Breakfast Club. She had dandruff.
She did. She made it snow. She always has that undercurrent of crazy.
Yeah, it's true. Okay. Did anything from Short Circuit stand out phonetically in your mind?
Oh, yeah. In the robot demonstration, I'm trying to figure out what it was, but there was definitely one of those audible cues that like transported me to my childhood.
Yep. Oh, I know what it was. It was another
was it?
robot for me at the reception going, shrimp toast, cavi-R.
Beavers, cherries, more input. Oh, and then he makes him the gin and tonic.
Yes. Your cocktail is
ridiculous.
ready. And Kelly Ray's like, that's not a cocktail.
What is it?
It's gin over ice with a twist.
There was tonic in there, but still, I mean, as far as cocktails go. And they also didn't shake it.
Well, come on. What are you asking of advanced robotics? It's part of the charm. I'm going to assert that it's the main charm of Short Circuit is that this was almost all practical. And they really were pushing for stop motion Johnny Five. And I was like, oh, that's going to be awful. That would be awful. They did a number of tests. There were a handful of shots where, practically speaking, they couldn't do it the way they did it ultimately. But he's so present. He's there in all the scenes, and it makes it feel real, especially to kids.
Hey, guys, have you heard of Goldbelly? It's this amazing site where they ship the most iconic, famous foods from restaurants across the country, anywhere, nationwide. I've never found a more perfect gift than food. They ship Chicago deep dish pizza, New York bagels, Maine lobster rolls, and even Ina Garten's famous cakes. So if you're looking for a gift for the food lover in your life, head to goldbelly.com and get 20% off your first order with promo code GIFT.
Halliday presents, in the red corner, the undisputed, undefeated Weed Whacker Guy. Champion of hurling grass and pollen everywhere. And in the blue corner, the challenger, extra strength Halliday. Eye drops that work all day to prevent the release of histamines that cause itchy allergy eyes. And the winner by knockout is Halliday. Halliday, bring it on.
Oh my gosh, there are a number of scenes where it's just Johnny Five.
Yeah.
He's driving a car, he's cooking breakfast, he's reprogramming his robot counterparts, and he's emoting and acting.
And successfully. Really, those little eye flaps do 80% of the work, I think.
They do. He's got a couple of little gimmicks. He's got the eye flaps, he's got the red eye.
Yeah.
That always come out with the laser.
Yeah,
the laser
red eye
out.
means bad. Red eyes in anything.
Yeah, it's definitely like laser time.
Yeah.
He's got the little mouth LED bar.
The Knight Rider kit mouth.
Yeah. And was he all remote controlled?
Remote controlled.
Was he puppeted?
Like 1.5 million of the budget went into R&D for the robot and really getting him to work. And of course they did dead sheets. We talked about, anytime you don't see his full body in frame, it was an arm on a stick or just a head or whatever. But yeah, a lot of work went into the robot.
Oh, he's great. Like if I had to choose between the Xenomorph or the Johnny Five in my living room, Johnny Five.
Okay. Like a fully articulated, like life-size mechanical thing?
Uh-huh.
Okay. You should get a tattoo of Johnny Five in a DeLorean waving.
But they'd have to be accurate. Remember you sent me all of those inaccurate DeLorean tattoos?
And you could have a little thought bubble, like a little dialogue bubble over it. And he would say, matchy, matchy.
Matchy, matchy.
Yeah, he's the exact same. He's like the DeLorean of robots.
Meaning iconic, beloved, and very 80s.
Yeah, and as such, he's not streamlined and, Apple design. He's kind of clunky, and they're like visible servos and wires and stuff.
Yeah, and for the weapon of the future, they're pretty destructible. Like, you just press a button, then they're like, woo.
Yep, a very easy to access button, the big red button, the shutdown button.
Yeah, so how are they supposed to be like these formidable weapons of war?
And hint, another association with Back to the Future. What does SAINT stand for?
Systematic, artificially intelligent. Oh, so close. Nanotechnology?
Nuclear transports. Wait a minute. Are you telling me that this sucker is nuclear?
Well, at least you don't have to get plutonium.
But what's the nuclear component? Are those lasers nuclear?
Yeah, it's a good question.
It sounds futuristic.
Yeah, it's just tech mumbo jumbo.
So Short Circuit, 1986, that laser sound. Where does the laser sound come from? It is not an homage. It is a direct lift.
Like a Wilhelm scream?
Yep.
What does the laser sound like? Can you give me the sound first?
It goes... I can't really do it.
Okay, what is it?
The firing of the laser is the powering up of the proton packs.
Oh. Is there a direct Ghostbusters connection?
Not as far as I know. It's a good science fiction sound effect. Okay, ready for lesser questions? The dregs questions?
Hold on. One name that does not sound futuristic and also is not a great name for a tech company, let alone a car. Why do people insist on calling things Nova, which roughly translate to don't go?
Yeah.
No go.
The real world marketing problem with the Chevy Nova in Latin or Spanish speaking countries. They sold a car that meant no go. Exactly.
Anyway, was Nova an acronym?
I don't think so.
Or an abbrev?
Nova! Did you notice anything that you'd never noticed before about Beasley the dog?
3 legs?
Yeah. Did you ever note that?
I barely noted it until like the last shot of him.
While we were watching it, Kelly Ray spoke up and she was like, he's a tripod.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, yeah. I don't know about pods. Like, he doesn't really have feet. The front are treads. And he's got that little wheel in the back, like that suitcase wheel that's like a stabilizer. And she's like, no, the dog. And I was like, oh. Never saw that until this screening.
They're all the dregs of the animal.
Oh.
The ones that are not adoptable, that are abandoned, and that she collects. She collects the strays.
So,
aww.
Do you remember this movie as being like a Terminator type component, like for kids or whatever, and being high tech? Or was it cheesy, meant to be like a say and speak or whatever? That's high tech, right? Did it feel techy to you or more cheesy?
Oh, very techy.
Very futuristic, advanced robotics with the dinky 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 dink kind of music?
Definitely. He dances, he treads, he can go 30 miles per hour. I mean, by this logic, can't we electrocute anything and have it become alive?
Yes, which was a last-minute desperation kind of cheat. Elaborate discussions about how Johnny 5 comes alive. Number 5 is alive. Aliens were going to come down and zap him and bring him to life. All kinds of stuff. And they finally conceded that lightning, because apparently lightning doing magical stuff in the mid-'80s was a big thing. Back to the Future available now, or orwhatevermovies.com, or wherever you get podcasts. But they were like, well, I mean, it's cheesy, but it gets the job done. Let's get to the action quickly. He's alive, and we're going with it.
And we do. We go with it.
Remember in our discussion of The Karate Kid, also from around this period, we came up with the 3 best insults in Karate Kid?
Yes.
What do we got for a Short Circuit?
Must be take a worm for a walk week.
Definitely the favorite is, hey, laser lips, your mama was a snowblower.
I mean, in terms of robot slams,
brutal robot burn.
That's up there.
Scroder calls Newton he's like, you 4-eyed idiot, and Newton doesn't wear glasses. It's just 4 eyes. It's just a blanket term for nerd.
Yeah, it's just a general nerd term, regardless of your visual acuity. Ben has to have he has some good digs.
I mean, he has digs, but they're unintentional. And that's why when it's really offensive, he can just be cute in ESL.
What is Newton Crosby's problem?
He is a man-child.
Well, yeah, he maintains some very childlike innocence about artificial intelligence and robotics.
He is a PH dork.
Yes, he is. But
That's
what is
That's the other one. That's the other insult.
PH dork. Burn, sick burn. But what is his story problem?
Newton?
Yeah.
I'm not sure. You have this in your pocket?
I feel like that's an important story beat for what makes Short Circuit or any film work, and something I've been trying to be more attuned to. And it seems like his problem changes over the course of the story. It starts with advanced nuclear weapons on the loose, and it's his responsibility.
Yeah.
But then it becomes what? That he recognizes and appreciates his intelligence and therefore has to save him or protect him?
Yeah, it's Miles Dyson. He understands his role in this and assumes the role of a father, so to speak, and joins the opposition, joins the rebellion.
And they're just going to become like the greatest modern family up in Montana with like her strays and Johnny Five, and they're going to be their parents.
Exactly. 40 acres.
That sounds pretty nice.
Yeah? That's because you're old.
Yeah, probably. So what do you think, now I'm turning this around, what do you think about 1986 use of AI? And if this were 2024 AI, how would you anthropomorphize, humanize ChatGPT?
I think it was best done in the critically acclaimed and yet box office shortcoming Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning, The Entity, where it is in everything, and it's not really like, it doesn't take a physical form like I expected it to, but just that it's everywhere in the background, lawnmower man style. It can manipulate the, like M3gan, it can manipulate everything around you, and it's connected to the internet, which is a scary thought. Where all of a sudden you like walk by and it needs to incapacitate you. So like your espresso machine like shoots a deadly jet of boiling liquid at you.
So you personify the algorithm by making it ubiquitous.
Yeah, in a blood tornado kind of way. Like you can see a face, just like the entity is represented by that digital eyeball thing, but not really like in doll form or whatever. That's silly. Or person form.
Or robot form.
Yeah. So I don't know if that's a problem with the Steve Guttenberg character. His character sent me down the path of what I didn't understand how old these people were supposed to be, given that Stephanie's a homeowner and a small business owner, and he is a robotics genius. And he said it's been about 5 years. Can you believe it's been about 5 years since I've driven? And I was like, how old is he supposed to be? Because he admits to no working knowledge of girls. They can't be like 17 like she was, like Ali Sheedy was depicted in the... So maybe he was an older man. I don't know. Is that his problem? That he switches sides, that he sides with Johnny Five and goes from being a man of science to a man of faith?
He finds his way to becoming our hero.
Sure.
Because up until that point, he's too preoccupied with with what's happening scientifically, technologically with Johnny Five.
Yeah.
Then he finds love and he becomes more human, and then he embraces his father figure role with Johnny Five. So for someone who hasn't kissed, they really go at it that first time.
Yeah. Oh, man. Didn't you see that show about the two virgins who had never kissed another person?
No.
Yeah, it's like Virgin Love or something.
Ew.
Oh, man. So two virgins who have never had interactions with, like romantic interactions, who kiss for the first time after they say I do. It's horrific.
Well, they don't have any problem. They're celebrating and suddenly they're kissing. And I was like, wait, that was the big moment?
Yep.
When he laughs at the rabbi joke. That's
yeah, there was an anti-Semitic joke in there. That was weird.
All right, Malfunction. Need input. What's your final review? What's your final rating of Short Circuit?
I don't care what anybody says. You probably won't show this to your kids like Troop Beverly Hills, but no one until our discussion would have been like, Troop Beverly Hills is unsuitable for children. I still think that this was great, so much so that maybe even after it was deemed culturally insensitive or inappropriate in some ways, they stole Johnny Five and his cute little thing for Wally like 90%. There's no doubt that Wally is modeled directly after Johnny Five because flat out lovable. You know that the voice of Johnny Five wasn't intentional. It was like Darth Vader. It was a temp voice. That it was the puppeteer. It was so they were so accustomed to his voice being that of Johnny that they couldn't think about ADRing that role after the fact. He was that voice. And that character, as a result for us too, over so long has been so endearing that we make it less controversial and make him even cuter and make him Wally. So there's definite appeal. I don't care what anyone says. This is a solid, all right movie. It was great for the time for a specific kind of kids movie. A lot of which, if there were adult themes or jokes, completely went over my head. This is what John Badham does. He makes adult-themed styled movies with all kinds of weird adult innuendo and stuff that I don't understand or realize until I'm a fully fledged one of those.
Yeah, and then which you also watch incessantly as a kid.
Right? And then, so we watched Short Circuit, we watched Saturday Night Fever. Revisiting them in adulthood is a trippy experience for sure. But I still have love, so much so that The Sneak was super into it. Kelly Ray was super into it. And then we watched it, and when she was like, oh, that doesn't hold up quite. I don't care what you say. Johnny Five is awesome and will always be alive in my heart and mind. Totally all right movie. Not totally, but all right. All right movie for sure.
I won't be wasting any more of your valueless time, and I'll say that I, too, give Short Circuit a good. And that's our discussion on Short Circuit from 1986. Thank you for listening. Did you enjoy Short Circuit as a child? And coincidentally, Saturday Night Fever? 818-835-0473. Let us know. Or whatevermovies@gmail.com. Thank you for listening, and bye-bye, Goofy Woman. Namaste.
Why is it that games make us feel so good or completely rage quit? These emotions we feel are mostly not an accident. People like me design them. I'm Chris Cross, and this is Brain Arcade, a podcast all about the psychology of game design and why games hit us so hard. Each week I bring on a new guest, designers, psychologists, storytellers, to break it all down with me. If you play, design, or just love games, follow now.
Electricast.